G'day guys, welcome back to another one. Now it's been a little while, but we have been doing a little bit of work to the JAYCO camper trailer. So guys, in case you haven't seen it before, we've got a 2005 JAYCO Hawk that we're trying to spec up. This might be the best mod that we've done to it. I know that Kim reckons it's the best mod and it just takes it to a whole different level. Hey babe.
Yes?
What is by far your favourite mod of the camper trailer?
Seriously?
And it is the 12-volt water pump that we've got installed, supplying water through the camper trailer. It's an absolute game changer, guys, so stick around because we're going to go through the whole system and show you exactly what makes this thing so good.
The tap.
So, the pump?
Yeah.
Yep, why's that?
No one wants to sit there to fill the kettle for 45 minutes. No one wants that.
So to give you guys a little bit of a background of how the van works before we get this 12-volt pump in, we're running a 2005 JAYCO Hawk Outback. Now, the JAYCO Hawk comes standard with the 82-litre water tank, and they've also got plumbed up mains water pressure as well. So the idea was to install a mixer tap with the cold plumbed back to the 12-volt pump and the hot plumbed back through to the mains pressure. So we can select which one we want to use with the mixer tap, and we can isolate the pump and turn it on and off whenever we want. Now, this pump has not let us down so far, and honestly, we haven't actually even been running it with an isolation switch. We've been running it through its own internal pressure switch, which is good and is okay to do. You do have a little bit of a problem though. You end up running the risk of losing all your water if you've got a leak in any of your water hoses, or the worst case scenario is you can blow a water line and leak water all through your van. Righto, so the problem is, and I'll show you this now, is we've blown the water line here coming from the pump up into the sink. I wanted to see how the internal pressure switch on this pump went, and it's actually really good. I've hooked this up straight from the fuse panel, so there's no switch actually in the circuit. So this thing is just holding pressure as long as it wants the whole pressure. And obviously when the hose blew, pump turned on and it just drained the whole tank out. That's why you always have your water pumps on a switch. Anyway, I'm going to change that wiring up and put the switch back in where it's supposed to be. Then we should have this thing back up and running. All right, so the plan to fix all of this up is to, one, wire that switch back in where it's supposed to be so we can isolate the pump, change out the hoses. So we've got some just normal food grade hose there that we're going to use. So we're going to put that in and replace all this old, this is about 20 years old, this hose. So we're going to change out all this stuff, change all this elastic seals. We're going to change all that out because you can see that's all just falling apart and just, yeah, it's not really sealing anything at all. So change out all that's elastic, and then just give the pump a bit of a once over, give it a clean up, clean out the filter, make sure everything's running all right, and then give you guys a really good close look at it when we're all done. I'll just pretty much drench myself, but we were really lucky that that seal had pretty much deteriorated to nothing, and when that's blown out that hose, it's actually leaked straight back out of the hole and onto the ground. So we're super lucky that we didn't actually flood the floor of the van, because yeah, if we flooded the floor, it just would have been an absolute nightmare. Have a look at the difference in these two hoses. Right, so this is the old one that we've taken out. You can see how old it is. It's all yellow, it's starting to crack and fray. It's got dirt and grime and yeah, it's just not good. It's looking disgusting. So that one's going, and this is the new one. Run-of-the-mill food grade hose that you can pick up anywhere. I think we picked ours up from Bunnings for about 10 bucks, for 20 bucks for a 10-meter roll. Really good quality. It's really rigid, which is going to be awesome. So it's got this nice reinforced webbing on it as well, so it's going to be pretty tough. Being under the van, it's probably going to collect some rocks and bits and pieces flying off the road, so that's going to be good. But I'm going to give this a really good workout and a test and let you guys know how it holds up compared to the old standard silicon that you get when you get these camper trailers. All right, so new hoses are on. It's clamped up both sides, so we've got hose clamp on that one, hose clamp on that one, and the other one's going back down, hose clamped onto the tank. Now, all I've done is I've just fed that back up through the same hole that the old hose was sitting in. Now I'm just going to go up, measure up the other end, and hook that onto the tap, and we should be good to go. Now I've got a little switch connected here, so this is just in next to the sink. The switch cable is going to run back to the pump. And the reason that you always do want to switch in your pump circuit is to avoid exactly what's happened to this setup. If you've always got your lines pressurized and something is to leak, or something is to, in our case, the hose split or the hose completely blow off, then you're just going to flood your van, or you're just going to run that pump constantly with no way of shutting it off. So that's the reason you always do want to switch. Just make sure that your switches are rated for the right current that you're going to be pulling. These pumps are usually around the sort of 6 amp mark, 6 to 10 amp mark. Most rocket switches are rated at around 20. So for us, this one's going to be fine, but always check your current ratings on your switches to make sure they're actually going to handle the current you pull for your load. Now before you go ahead and start ripping in to connecting up all your cabling, make sure that your pump is isolated from your fuse block. Really important now that you're going to start making your connections, to make sure that even though this is 12 volt, last thing you want is to drop your active on the chassis or something like that and realize you haven't pulled your fuse, and then get it all back together and the whole system not work. Righto, so tanks are full. Let's lift up the tap, open up the sink, turn it on to 12 volt pump setting, hit the switch, away we go. We've got water. So we can turn that off. Now that's got pressure in the lines because the pump's still energized, but the internal pressure switch has actually cut it off. That's how we were running it before. So you could turn it on and away it went, or stopped it just by turning the tap on or off. That is okay, but like I said, you're gonna have pressurized lines all the way back from the tap to the pump now. So always best to come back, turn the pump off, and then take that pressure out of your lines, and away you go. So a couple of other little tips for you as well when it comes to your water supply. Always try to fill your tanks with a decent food grade hose. So we've got this one here. This is actually what we've used for our water pump hose. We've actually just cut little pieces off this and used that for the hoses off the water pump. That makes a massive difference for your drinking water, the taste of your drinking water and just the quality. I'm sure you've all had it, that plasticky taste when you drink water straight out of a jerry can, or if you have water from the garden hose. This thing actually gets rid of a lot of that flavor and taste of that plastic. So always a good idea to try and use a food grade hose for filling your tanks. I'm actually really bad for this, but if we come back from a trip from somewhere and I just leave the van, I don't fill the tanks back up, I'll run one tank of this tank clean through it from Kamak. This is a wicked product just to clean out your tanks, your lines, make everything spick and span, and keep your tanks nice and clean and sanitized. So that's going to kill all the algae, the bacteria, all the gunk that can build up in your tanks if they've been sitting for a long time with only a little bit of water in there, or if they've been sitting empty and have developed some of that gunk in there as well. But you guys can see that is just a mod that takes your whole camping experience in one of these little wind-ups to a whole different level. Now guys, if you want to see more of the mods that we've done on the little Jayco, or any of the ones that are going to be coming up, because believe me, there's going to be lots of them, hit the playlist up on screen now and it'll take you up to all of the mods that we've done and all the ones that we're gonna do in the future. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and the bell notification so you don't miss a beat when it comes to all of these mods and all the other stuff on our channel. Alright guys, as always, get out and about. We'll see you in the next one.